Damien Hines.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and how very deeply upsetting for everybody to hear that very powerful speech from the Right Honourable Lady from Barking, and humbling to follow it. I congratulate her on what she said and the bravery she has shown. I also congratulate my honourable friend from Stroud for securing this debate and thank the committee for granting it. Now, of course, plenty of people are anonymous without ever being abusive, and God knows there's plenty of abuse comes from people who are perfectly open about who they are. But there is something of a media hierarchy in human nature, and I think we all recognise there are many people who will say things to someone on the phone that they wouldn't say in person. They'll put things on email that they wouldn't say on the phone. They put things on Twitter they wouldn't write in an email. And yes, they will post anonymously something they would never want to see their name written next to. Now, I don't want to ban anonymity like my honourable friend. People have long sought its sense of freedom, its disinhibiting effect, and its privacy. Occasionally, its hilarity and its enjoyment, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. So long as there is no harm to anybody else, it is no business of the state. It's also important, of course, for activists in oppressive regimes, or for people seeking advice on sensitive issues, to discover a community out there, to know that they are not indeed alone. But while in one context, anonymity can give voice to the voiceless and empower the oppressed, in another, it can coarsen public discourse and facilitate abuse. Surely, it is possible for us to have the one without having to have the other. And we will hear in this debate, we've already heard in this debate, of some really, really nasty abuses. In many cases, actually criminal abuses, where the issue with anonymity is really one about registration. It's about the impediment to enforcement action. And many of those cases will be about people in the public eye. I'm also concerned about lower level effects, the impact on the general tone of public discourse and the consequences for our social cohesion and mutual understanding. And I'm concerned not only or even mainly about public figures, but also about everybody else, about moderate, normal people of all views who fear to put their head above the parapet, and to those deterred from entering public life in future for fear of what their children might see written about them on Twitter. Free speech is at the heart of our traditions, but there's another long tradition we have that pamphlets declare who they're from, the imprint. Writers might write under pseudonyms, but someone, the publisher, is ultimately accountable. Social media platforms deny that responsibility, and so anonymity can also make it easier for those foreign powers and others who want to deliberately confuse and divide us. It can be hard to know if you're interacting with a person, a machine, or something in between. And there are many possible permutations. There are also many pitfalls, and this warrants proper debate and deliberation. My own proposal, like my honourable friend, I think is a pretty mild one and a safe one. That if you are on general usage, mass market social media using your real identity, you should have the right, if you choose, to hear only from other people using their real identity. Yeah.